Star Trek, Primitive Passenger Season 4, Episode 1, Empire North. The massive docking bay of Empok Nor hummed with activity. Cardassian officers barked final orders as personal belongings were loaded onto their departing vessels. Transport workers, a mix of various species that had come to call the station home, moved with practiced efficiency, eager to see the last of their Cardassian overseers. Standing on the upper-level observation platform, Nolan Mercer watched the proceedings with quiet satisfaction. His tall frame leaned casually against the railing, dark eyes tracking the movement below with the practiced scrutiny of someone who counted every crate, noted every face. "That's the last of them," Ilara said, standing beside him. Her auburn hair fell loosely around her shoulders, a stark contrast to her simple dark attire. "Gul Trilar's shuttle will depart in approximately 20 minutes. Nolan nodded. 40 years of Cardassian micromanagement coming to an end. "Can't say I'll miss it." "The Federation-Cardassian treaty has its advantages," Ilara remarked. "While everyone's attention is focused on the handover at Terok Nor, we can finally formalize what's been true for decades. That this station belongs to me," Nolan said with quiet certainty. "The Cardassians never cared about Empok Nor except as a tax revenue stream. Now they've been forced to abandon their border outposts as part of their agreement with the Federation." His comm badge chirped. "Mercer," he answered. "Sir, Gul Trilar is requesting your presence in Docking Bay 3 for a final meeting before departure," a staff member reported. "Of course he is." Nolan sighed. "Tell him I'll be there shortly." As the comm clicked off, Ilara raised an eyebrow. "Final demands. Final anything. After today, this station is mine officially." Nolan smoothed his dark jacket. "Keep monitoring the incoming transport from Rigel. I want to know the moment our people enter the system." "They're still 3 hours out," Ilara confirmed. "I'll alert you to any changes." Nolan made his way down to Docking Bay 3, navigating the curved corridors of the station that had been his home and business headquarters for decades. While the Cardassians had always claimed ownership on paper, the reality was that Empok Nor had functioned under Nolan's control, becoming a vital hub for commerce in this sector of space. For years he'd refused Bajoran slave labor and paid Cardassia their cut. Nolan tolerated their nominal oversight, a temporary concession that was about to end. Gul Trilar stood near his shuttle, hands clasped behind his back, his scaled face set in the perpetual scowl that seemed standard issue for Cardassian military officers. 2 guards flanked him, their disruptor rifles held at ready position. "Mr. Mercer," Trilar said as Nolan approached, "I was beginning to think you might avoid our final meeting. And miss saying goodbye." "Never," Nolan replied, his voice friendly despite the obvious tension. "I hope your withdrawal has been satisfactory." "Hardly, but orders are orders." Trilar took a step closer, lowering his voice. "Central Command has instructed me to remind you that while we are withdrawing personnel, Empok Nor remains Cardassian property. Any attempt to claim otherwise would be unfortunate." Nolan's friendly expression didn't waver, but his eyes hardened. "Gul Trilar, let's be honest with each other. For 40 years, I've managed this station's operations, maintained its systems, built its commerce, and paid your government a hefty premium for the privilege. Now that your government has agreed to abandon this sector, that arrangement ends." Trilar's eyes narrowed. "Are you declaring ownership of a Cardassian military installation, Mercer?" "I'm stating facts," Nolan replied calmly. "This station continues to operate because of me. It prospers because of me. And now that the treaty is in effect, it belongs to me." "Central Command will not accept this," Trilar hissed. "Central Command has bigger concerns," Nolan said. "Besides, the treaty explicitly transfers control of abandoned outposts to local authorities. I am the local authority here." Trilar didn't respond immediately. Instead, he reached into his uniform and extracted a data rod. "Central Command also instructed me to deliver this to you." Nolan accepted the rod with casual indifference. And this is updated operating parameters. Your percentage has been adjusted. Nolan's tone remained even as he pocketed the rod without giving it a second glance. I'll be sure to give it all the consideration it deserves. Trillar's smile was cold. You would be wise to accept the terms, Mercer. The alternative could be unpleasant. I've faced unpleasant before, Nolan replied with a slight smile. Cardassia knows who I am. Trillar's jaw tightened. One more thing, Mercer. We've received intelligence that a transport from Rigel may be carrying certain individuals of interest to the Cardassian government. Should they attempt to seek refuge here, you are expected to detain and return them to Cardassian custody immediately. Nolan's expression didn't change. Anyone in particular I should be watching for? You'll know them when you see them. Trillar turned to board his shuttle, then paused. Oh, and Mercer. Stay clear of the situation at Terok Nor. That matter is being handled at the highest levels. Terok Nor is hardly my concern, Nolan replied smoothly. I have enough to manage here. Trillar gave a final, skeptical look before boarding his shuttle. Nolan remained in place, watching as the vessel's engines engaged and it glided out of the docking bay into open space. Only when the shuttle had disappeared from view did Nolan allow a genuine smile to spread across his face. He tapped his comm badge. Ilara, how long until Trillar's shuttle is out of sensor range? Approximately 12 minutes, she replied. Excellent. Meet me in Ops. Time for some changes around here. The operations center of Empok Nor buzzed with a new energy as Nolan strode in. His staff humans, Bajorans, Bolians, and other non-Cardassians who had found employment under his management, worked with barely contained excitement. Gladys? Nolan asked, approaching the central command table where Ilara awaited him. All Cardassian vessels have cleared the system, she reported. We're officially on our own. Perfect. Nolan took the data rod from his pocket and tossed it into a waste reclamation unit. First order of business, station designation. From this moment forward, this station will be known as Empire North. He looked around at his staff. Update all communications protocols and external identifiers. His operations manager, a Bajoran named Terran, nodded with satisfaction. About time we made it official. I'll see to it immediately. Second, Nolan continued, implement upgraded security measures. This station is now sovereign territory. I want defensive systems ready in case any Cardassian vessels decide to test our resolve. Understood, his security chief replied with a grin. We also have a full satellite grid ready to deploy when you're ready. Third, Nolan turned to his communications officer. Establish a secure channel to our contact on Deep Space Nine. I want regular updates on the situation there. Yes, sir, the young human officer responded. I'll maintain an open line to our sources. Sir, another officer called from the sensor station. The transport from Rigel has increased speed. New estimated arrival is 90 minutes. Nolan nodded. Interesting timing. Ilara, join me in my office. The rest of you, continue preparations for our independence celebration. I want everything ready by 20,000 hours. As the door to his office slid shut behind them, Nolan's composed demeanor gave way to focused intensity. He moved to his desk, activating a series of security protocols that would ensure their conversation remained private. Trillar knew about our transport from Rigel, he said without preamble. They're watching our incoming vessels. That's concerning, Ilara replied, taking a seat across from him, particularly given the nature of our incoming guests. Nolan leaned back in his chair. 2 Cardassian scientists defecting with research the Central Command would rather keep buried. No wonder Trillar was so pointed in his warning. Do you think they know specifically about Colmac and Makor? The Order knows all, was his short, poignant response. The Havoc is parked near Outpost Alpha, Ilara reminded him. We could have it here within minutes if needed. Always good to keep it within reach. The direct confrontation with the Cardassians isn't my preferred approach, but I won't let them interfere with my station or my guests." Nolan stood, moving to the viewport that overlooked the vast expanse of space beyond the station. "We've worked too long for this moment to back down now. The scientists' research could be invaluable for our operations," Ilara noted. "Their work in quantum wave field mechanics could revolutionize our transportation technology," Nolan agreed. "Not to mention the personal satisfaction of frustrating Cardassian military ambitions." Ilara smiled knowingly. "There is that." His desk terminal chimed, indicating an incoming transmission. Nolan returned to his seat and accepted the call. The screen illuminated with the face of Elam Garak, the Cardassian tailor who served as one of Nolan's most valuable, if unpredictable, sources of information on DS9. "Mr. Mercer," Garak greeted him with his customary enigmatic smile. "What a pleasant surprise. So, Garak, anything new?" Garak's expression remained unchanged. "Oh, it's been quite routine here. A little mess here or there left behind by my military compatriots, though Commander Sisko did just depart on a rather sudden runabout mission to the Denorio's belt. Mysterious sensor readings, or so I hear." "Interesting timing," Nolan remarked. "I imagine the Cardassians aren't pleased about losing their station." "Gul Dukat seems to be taking it with remarkable composure, considering," Garak replied with characteristic irony. "Though one can never tell with Dukat. Being demoted from prefect may not be sitting as well as Central Command had hoped." Before Nolan could respond, Garak offered, "Rumor has it, Mr. Mercer, that Gul Trilar has left your humble abode for greener pastures. I imagine you're terribly broken up about it." "Crestfallen Garak," Nolan said flatly. "Keep me posted. As always, Mr. Mercer." Garak's image disappeared as the transmission ended. Nolan turned to Ilara. "Something's happening at DS9. Sisko wouldn't take a runabout into the Denorio's belt on a whim. I'll increase monitoring of Starfleet communications in the area," she replied. Their conversation was interrupted by Nolan's comm badge. "Mercer here." "Sir," Terran's voice came through, urgent and tense. "We're detecting a Cardassian patrol vessel entering the system." Ilara raised an eyebrow. "That didn't take long." "They're testing us," Nolan said as he stood. "Let's find out what they want. Be ready to blink in the havoc." "Understood." As they returned to the operations center, the main view screen displayed a small Cardassian vessel approaching the station. "They're hailing us," the communications officer reported. "Put them through," Nolan ordered, taking position in the center of the room. The screen shifted to show a Cardassian officer Nolan didn't recognize. "This is Glenn Mozet of the Cardassian Defense Force. We're conducting routine patrol operations in this sector." "Glenn Mozet," Nolan replied cordially. "This is Nolan Mercer, owner of Empok Nor. Forgive me, but this sector is no longer of Cardassian concern. You're approaching sovereign territory." The Glenn's expression hardened at Nolan's declaration of ownership. "Empok Nor, as you call it, remains Cardassian property. Our orders are to maintain security in Cardassian space. We will be conducting sensor sweeps of all incoming vessels to this station." "I think you misunderstand the situation, Glenn," Nolan replied, his tone cooling. "This station and the space immediately surrounding it is now independent territory. Your sensor sweeps will stop at our perimeter." "You have no authority to make such claims," Mozet countered sharply. "I have every authority," Nolan said evenly. "Under the terms of the Federation-Cardassian Treaty, abandoned outposts transfer to local control. I am that local control. The Cardassian Central Command will not recognize this." "Leration." Nolan smiled thinly. "Their recognition isn't required, but their respect for our boundaries is. We have reason to believe certain individuals of interest may be attempting to flee Cardassian jurisdiction through your facility," Mozet pressed. "Any vessels that dock at Empok Nor fall under our jurisdiction while they're here," Nolan stated firmly. "If you have legitimate legal claims against any individuals, you may submit them through proper diplomatic channels." The Cardassian's jaw tightened. This stance could have serious consequences, Mercer. So could violating our sovereignty, Nolan replied calmly. I suggest you maintain position outside our perimeter and await further instructions from Central Command. The Glenn's eyes narrowed, but he offered a curt nod. We will maintain position, for now. As the transmission ended, Terran let out a low whistle. They're not even trying to be subtle. They're desperate, Nolan replied, and desperate Cardassians are dangerous Cardassians. He turned to his security chief. Double security on all docking bays, and prepare defensive countermeasures in case they attempt to board any arriving vessels. Sir, the communications officer interrupted, we're receiving an update from DS-9. Commander Sisko's runabout has gone missing in the Denorio's belt. Nolan exchanged a glance with Alara. Missing? They just found him. Keep monitoring the situation. The transport from Rigel will be within visual range in 30 minutes, the sensor officer reported. Perfect timing, Nolan muttered. Alara, with me. I think we need to adjust our welcome plans. They retreated to a small conference room adjacent to operations. As soon as the door closed, Nolan activated a holographic display showing the station's layout. They're going to try to intercept Colmac and Makor before they can reach us, she said, pointing to the incoming vessel's trajectory. We need to create a distraction. The maintenance shuttle in Bay 7 is ready, Alara noted. We could deploy it on a routine inspection route that happens to cross between the patrol vessel and the incoming transport. Good. And let's have a secondary transport ready in Bay 12. If we need to perform a quick transfer of passengers, I want it ready to go. The door chimed, and Terran entered with urgent steps. Sir, we're receiving an encrypted transmission from the Rigel transport. They're requesting emergency docking protocols. What's happened? They're being pursued by a Cardassian military vessel that wasn't on our sensors. It appeared from the Bardoon Nebula moments ago. Nolan's expression hardened. Clever. They staged the patrol vessel as a diversion while positioning their actual intercept ship out of our sensor range. The transport captain says they're 8 minutes from our space, but the Cardassian vessel is gaining rapidly. Bring the Havoc, Alara. Looks like we'll need the big Gussin after all. Sir, Terran acknowledged, hurrying back to ops. Alara looked at Nolan with concern. The Havoc, engaging a Cardassian military vessel directly, could have serious diplomatic repercussions. We're not going to engage, Nolan assured her. Just show enough force to make them reconsider. He moved toward the door. They want these scientists badly, which only makes me more interested in what they know. Back in ops, the view screen showed the incoming transport, now visible as a small cargo vessel pushing its engines well beyond their designed capacity. Behind it, the sleek form of a Cardassian attack ship closed the distance with alarming speed. The transport is hailing us, the communications officer reported. On screen, Nolan ordered. The screen shifted to show a Rigelian captain, his expression tense. Empok Nor. This is Captain Torin of the Celestial Whisper. Requesting immediate emergency docking. Captain Torin, this is Nolan Mercer. You're cleared for emergency approach to Docking Bay 5. We're sending escort vessels to assist you now. Thank you. Our engines are. The transmission crackled with interference. The Cardassian vessel is jamming their communications, the operations officer reported. Now they're hailing us, the communications officer added. Nolan nodded. Let's hear what they have to say. A different Cardassian officer appeared on screen, his demeanor cold and authoritative. Empire North, this is Gur-Reval of the Cardassian vessel Prakesh. The transport you are preparing to receive is carrying fugitives from Cardassian justice. Stand down and allow us to board that vessel. Gul-Reval, Nolan replied, his tone hard despite the civil words. The Celestial Whisper has requested emergency docking at my facility. They will receive it. That vessel and its passengers fall under Cardassian jurisdiction, Rebel countered sharply. Not now they've entered my space, Nolan stated. I suggest you reconsider your pursuit. Explain yourself, Reval demanded. On cue, the massive form of the Havoc appeared from a brief flash of light. positioning itself between the Cardassian vessel and the fleeing transport. The dreadship dwarfed the Cardassian attack ship, its distinctive hull configuration instantly recognizable to anyone familiar with Nolan Mercer's operations. Gull Reevel's expression flickered briefly with uncertainty before hardening again. You would risk war with Cardassia over a transport vessel. Cardassia would risk war with Nolan Mercer over a transport vessel? Nolan parroted back to him. The Central Command has its hands full with Starfleet and the withdrawal from Bajor. Do you want to add the dreadship, Havoc, to the to-do list? The Gull's eyes narrowed dangerously. This is not over, Mercer. For today, it is, Nolan replied as the transmission ended. The operations center fell silent as all eyes tracked the Cardassian vessel. After a tense moment, it altered course, moving away from the transport and taking position at a safe distance. The Celestial Whisper is approaching Docking Bay 5, the operations officer reported. The Havoc is maintaining position between them and the Cardassian vessel. Excellent, Nolan said, turning to Terran. Have a security team meet me at the docking bay. Elara, you have ops. I'll continue monitoring the Cardassian vessels, she confirmed. Both the patrol ship and the Prakesh are maintaining position outside our perimeter. Nolan headed for the turbolift, contemplating the implications of what had just transpired. Openly defying Cardassian military vessels was a significant escalation, but one that had been inevitable from the moment he decided to claim the station as his own. As the turbolift carried him toward the docking bay, Nolan's comm badge chirped. Mercer here. Sir, the communications officer's voice came through. We're receiving reports that Commander Sisko's science officer has returned to DS, but he and his shuttle are still considered lost. There's a lot of activity in the Denorios belt, something about an investigation of spatial anomalies. It looks like Ducote's ship is in the area as well. Keep monitoring, Nolan instructed. Let me know if things start to take a turn. The turbolift doors opened, and Nolan stepped out, refocusing on the immediate situation. The Celestial Whisper had successfully docked, and his security team stood ready at the airlock. Standard welcome protocols, he instructed them. But be prepared for Cardassian interference. They want these passengers badly. The airlock cycled open to reveal Captain Torin, a Regalian with the characteristic cranial ridge of his species, looking exhausted but relieved. Behind him stood two Cardassian women, their posture proud despite obvious fatigue. Mr. Mercer, Torin said, extending his hand. Thank you for your timely intervention. Captain, Nolan greeted him warmly, shaking his hand. Welcome to Empire North. He turned his attention to the two Cardassian women. Dr. Colmack, Dr. Makor, welcome. Your reputation precedes you. The taller of the two stepped forward. I am Natima Colmack. This is my colleague, Gilora Makor. We are grateful for your assistance, Mr. Problet. Mercer. Indeed, Makor added, her voice softer but no less determined. We feared we would not reach safety. You're safe now, Nolan assured them, though I should inform you that a Cardassian military vessel is currently demanding your return. Gul Reval, Colmack said with visible disdain. He has been pursuing our research for years. When we refused to adapt our work for military applications, we became inconvenient. The Central Command does not appreciate theoretical science without practical military application, Makor explained. Our work in quantum wave field mechanics offers possibilities they cannot comprehend. Or control, Colmack added pointedly. Nolan studied them both with interest. Well, Mr. Garrick has made arrangements for your stay. He mentioned some of your concepts might eventually lead to practical applications. The two women glanced at each other. Garrick. Natima rolled her eyes. Ashamed to rely on someone like him for anything, let alone our very lives. We have brought all our research, Makor said, gesturing to several containers being unloaded from the transport. Everything we need to continue our work. Excellent. We'll get you settled in the science section. I think you'll find the facilities and accommodations more than adequate. Nolan gestured for them to follow him. "And perhaps you can tell me more about this wave field mechanics. I'm particularly interested in its potential applications for transportation technology." Several hours later, after ensuring the scientists were comfortably settled in their new quarters and their research materials secured in the station's science labs, Nolan returned to operations. The center was still bustling with activity as his staff continued monitoring the Cardassian vessels that maintained position outside their perimeter. "Status update," he asked, approaching the central command table where Alara awaited him. "The Cardassian vessels haven't moved," she reported, "but they're still conducting active sensor sweeps of our perimeter. In DS9, there have been some unusual communications," the young officer reported. "Something significant is happening, but details are scarce. The station itself appears to be moving from its orbit toward the Denorius belt." Nolan raised an eyebrow. "Leaving? Under its own power?" "Yes, sir. And there are now 3 Gaylor-class Cardassian vessels taking position near DS9. "Interesting," Nolan mused. "It seems our little standoff isn't the only game being played today." "Should we contact our source for more information?" Alara suggested. "Let's wait," Nolan decided. "We have enough to manage here. Keep monitoring the situation, but our priority is securing our own position." Nolan caught himself as he began to step away. "We still have that contingency of old Zalaxian battlecruisers tucked away, don't we?" "Piping hot and ready for battle," she chuckled. "But I'm not sure they're capable of taking on the big Gaylor-class ships." He moved to the central console, activating the station-wide communication system. "This is Nolan Mercer to all personnel and residents of Empire North. As of today, we enter a new chapter in the history of this station. What was once merely a business arrangement has now become official. This station is ours." He paused, looking around at the diverse faces of his crew. "Some of you have been with me for a while. Others have joined our community more recently. All of you have contributed to making this station what it is today, a place where commerce, science, and opportunity flourish beyond the constraints of traditional political powers." His voice grew more serious. "Make no mistake, we face challenges. The Cardassians aren't accustomed to losing what they consider theirs. Tensions in the sector are high. But these challenges also bring opportunities for those bold enough to seize them." A smile spread across his face. "So tonight, we celebrate our independence. Tomorrow, we begin exploring the possibilities this new frontier offers. Empire North is open for business. Our business on our terms. Mercer out." As the communication ended, the operations center erupted in applause. Nolan accepted it with a modest nod before turning to Alara. "Have the Havoc maintain position until the Cardassian vessels withdraw," he instructed quietly, "and arrange a private meeting with our new scientific guests for tomorrow morning." "You got it. I have staff taking care of their comfort and nutritional needs," she confirmed. "What about the data rod from Gul Trilar?" Nolan glanced at the waste reclamation unit where he'd disposed of it earlier. "What data rod?" Later that evening, as the celebration was in full swing throughout the station's promenade, Nolan's comm badge chirped. "Mercer here." "Sir," the operations officer's voice came through, "you might want to come to operations. We're receiving some extraordinary reports from DS9. Nolan made his way quickly to operations, where he found his senior staff gathered around the main view screen, their expressions a mixture of awe and disbelief. "What's happening?" he asked as he entered. "Sir," the communications officer turned to him, excitement evident in his voice. "Commander Sisko has discovered something incredible in the Denorios belt. A stable wormhole to the Gamma Quadrant." Nolan's eyes widened. "A stable wormhole? That's unprecedented." "The reports are still coming in," Alara added. "But it appears that Commander Sisko made first contact with non-corporeal beings inside the wormhole. The Cardassian vessels that were threatening DS9 have withdrawn, at least for now. A stable wormhole to the Gamma Quadrant, Nolan repeated, processing the implications. That changes everything. Trade routes, exploration, power dynamics, for everyone, Ilara agreed, joining him, including us. Nolan nodded thoughtfully. New opportunities, new markets, new alliances, and new competitors, she cautioned. Always. Nolan turned to his communications officer. Keep monitoring the situation. I want to know everything about this wormhole. Its stability, its size, what can pass through it. Everything. As the staff returned to their duties, Ilara moved closer to Nolan. Quite a day, she observed. We claim our independence from the Cardassians, acquire 2 brilliant scientists, and now a stable wormhole appears practically in our backyard. Change comes quickly sometimes, Nolan replied, a thoughtful expression on his face. Yesterday, the Cardassians thought they controlled this sector. Today, we've claimed our independence. They've been forced to abandon Bajor, and now there's a gateway to an entirely new quadrant. Change brings opportunity, Ilara observed, and risk. The Cardassians won't forget what happened today. Sheltering their scientists, defying their military vessels, we've made powerful enemies. Cardassian knows who I am, Ilara. Nolan stated, as if he shared some secret with Central Command. The Order won't start shit with the guy who saved them from eternal night. Ilara laughed softly. True enough. She remembered that fateful day with Ghoul Tropar, shaking her head. I think we should make an appearance at our celebration. Care to join me? As they made their way to the promenade, Empok Nor hummed with activity and possibility. Beyond its walls, the stars shone with ancient light, while nearby a newly discovered wormhole beckoned with the promise of unexplored realms. For a station at the crossroads of political powers and astral phenomena, it was the dawn of a new era, one that Nolan Mercer intended to navigate with his customary blend of caution, cunning, and audacity. The Cardassian patrol vessels might still lurk at the edges of his domain, but they were concerns for tomorrow. Tonight was for celebrating the birth of Empok Nor, the newest independent power in a rapidly changing quadrant. After all, that's what empires were built on. Epilogue. 3 days later, Nolan stood at the central console in Ops, studying a holographic display of the new Bajoran wormhole. Behind him, Ilara reviewed data from the latest sensor readings. Confirmed stable, she said, looking up, and large enough for even the Havoc to pass through. Nolan smiled, manipulating the display to show a trade route map. Wormhole smurmhole, he said. I just grabbed Gamma details from one of Starfleet's old probes. We can just blink over if we want. How come we've never gone? Ilara asked. You never take me anywhere anymore. Nolan glanced up, eyebrow raised. Excuse me? You heard me. Ilara crossed her arms. 400 years together. And when was the last time you took me somewhere nice? It's always Ilara monitor the Cardassians, or Ilara. Run the station while I go have all the fun. I took you to that Bolian opera last year, Nolan protested. That was 7 years ago, and you fell asleep halfway through. The lead tenor was terrible, Nolan muttered, returning his attention to the display. Ilara moved beside him, leaning against the console. Remember when we used to blink to uncharted systems just to see if anyone would shoot at us? Or that time we spent a week orbiting that binary system because you said there might be a war brewing? A smile tugged at the corner of Nolan's mouth. That was a long time ago. We have our own station now. A whole empire, Ilara said, gesturing grandly. And a brand new quadrant right next door. Seems like the perfect excuse for a date. A date? Nolan looked around quickly to see if any of the ops crew had heard. Don't look so horrified, Ilara laughed. I'm just saying. The Havoc. You, me, and a completely unexplored quadrant of the galaxy. You always say someone out there needs killing. Come on, for old time's sake. Nolan studied her for a moment, then shook his head with a chuckle. You're impossible, you know that? 400 years, and you're just figuring this out? Fine, Nolan relented, shutting down the display. One quick trip to the Gamma Quadrant. But if we run into any hostile ships, we'd blast away and start an interstellar incident. Believe me, I remember the drill, Elara finished. I'll get the Havoc ready. As she walked away, Nolan called after her. This isn't a date. Whatever you say, she replied without turning around. Wear something nice. The ops crew studiously avoided making eye contact with their commander as he stood there, unsuccessfully fighting a smile.